The receipt lay on the counter like a quiet accusation, its total circled in red ink, the tip line empty, a clean, merciless zero. For a moment, the restaurant's noise faded into a dull underwater hum, and all that existed was the ache behind the waiter's eyes and the weight in his chest that felt heavier than the tray he'd carried all night. A billionaire had just eaten, smiled politely, and left nothing behind but crumbs and a wound that would follow him home. And yet, beneath the plate, tucked where only a careful hand would find it, waited a folded note that would change the direction of a life already stretched thin. Before we dive deeper, pause with me right here. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the quiet miracles that arrive when hope feels exhausted, please like this video, share it with someone who needs it, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel. Stories like this survive because people like you believe they matter. The waiter's name was Marcus Hill, and he had learned long ago to keep his shoulders straight even when the world leaned on them. He was a black single father raising a 7-year-old son in a one-bedroom apartment that smelled faintly of laundry detergent and old books, a place where the walls held the echoes of bedtime stories and the hush of worry. Marcus worked a late shift at a high-end restaurant downtown, the kind of place where chandeliers glittered like constellations and the menu prices made his palms sweat. He took the job because the tips were supposed to be generous, because the math made sense on paper, because paper never told him how tired he would feel by the end of each night. His days were a careful choreography of school drop-offs, borrowed time, and quiet prayers whispered into the steering wheel of a car that had learned too many winters. That night had been unforgiving from the start. A storm rolled in early, drenching the sidewalks and slowing the dinner rush to a trickle that never quite arrived. Marcus smiled through it anyway, moving with practiced grace between tables, filling water glasses, catching crumbs before they scattered. He had learned that kindness was a language customers expected him to speak fluently, and he spoke it well, even when his mind drifted to the overdue electricity bill folded in his pocket, even when he remembered the email from the school about a field trip fee he didn't yet know how to pay. When the billionaire arrived, the room seemed to tilt toward him. He wore wealth like a second skin, effortless and quiet, and the staff responded with a heightened alertness that Marcus recognized as a survival reflex. This table mattered, they said without words. Marcus took the order with calm professionalism, noting the precise requests, the careful preferences, the kind of control that came from never having to compromise. He served the meal flawlessly, anticipating needs before they surfaced, wiping a spill before it could stain. He did not ask for praise, he only hoped for fairness. He hoped the night would end with a tip that would ease the month's pressure, that would let him buy his son new sneakers instead of the gently used pair he'd found online. The check came, the plate was cleared, the billionaire stood and left with a nod that barely touched Marcus's gaze. The receipt told the rest of the story. 0. Not an oversight, not a mistake, but a choice as deliberate as the circled total. Marcus felt the familiar burn of humiliation rise and then settle into something colder. He folded the receipt and slid it into the register, reminding himself that dignity was not measured in percentages, that his worth did not live on a line left blank. Still, the ache lingered, because the world had taught him that effort did not always earn reward, and tonight was another lesson he hadn't asked for. He reached to clear the table one last time, steadying his hands, and that was when he felt it. A subtle resistance beneath the plate, a whisper of paper against porcelain. He paused, glancing around, and slipped the folded note into his apron with a caution born of disappointment. He did not open it right away. Hope had become a dangerous habit, and he had learned to ration it carefully. The shift ended after midnight. Marcus stepped into the rain, the city slick and shining, the streetlights stretching into long, trembling reflections. He drove home with the radio low, the kind of music that made room for thinking. His son slept, curled under a blanket patterned with stars, one sneaker by the door, the other lost somewhere under the bed. Marcus sat at the small kitchen table, the hum of the refrigerator filling the silence, and finally unfolded the note. The handwriting was neat, deliberate, the ink pressed with intention. The message did not apologize for the zero, did not explain itself away. It acknowledged him. It named the care with which he had worked, the quiet competence that had made a stranger feel seen without being flattered. It spoke of a belief that character mattered more than transactions, that dignity deserved recognition even when the world failed to offer it. And then it offered something unexpected, an invitation, a time, a place, and a promise to listen. Marcus read it twice, then a third time, the words rearranging his understanding of the night. Suspicion tugged at him, a reflex honed by years of disappointment. But there was something in the tone that felt human, a gravity that did not perform kindness but practiced it privately. He folded the note and placed it in the pocket of his jacket, where it would rest close to his heart, and went to bed with a cautious ember of hope glowing in the dark. The days that followed tested that ember. Life did not pause for possibilities. His son caught a cold, the car made a sound Marcus did not like, and the restaurant cut hours because of the stormy week. He considered ignoring the note, chalking it up to a strange night, but the thought of it tugged at him during quiet moments, a thread he could not quite cut. On the morning of the meeting, he dressed carefully, choosing the cleanest shirt he owned, pressing it with a borrowed iron, reminding himself that he belonged wherever he stood. The place was modest, a cafe with chipped mugs and sunlight that spilled across worn wooden tables. Marcus arrived early, ordered a coffee he nursed slowly, and waited. When the billionaire arrived, there was no entourage, no spectacle, just a man who sat across from him and leaned forward with attention. The conversation unfolded without scripts or posturing. They spoke of work and responsibility, of the invisible labor that kept systems running, of the cost of pride and the price of care. Marcus shared his story not as a plea but as a truth, and he felt something loosen in his chest as he did. The offer that followed was not charity, it was opportunity framed as respect, a chance to step into a role that valued his skills beyond carrying plates, a position that would train him, pay him steadily, and give him hours that did not steal bedtime stories. It came with accountability and expectations, not pity. Marcus listened, weighing the risk with the care of a man who had learned that every decision rippled outward. He thought of his son's stars, the missing sneaker, the bills folded like origami worries in his wallet. He said yes with a voice that surprised him by how steady it sounded. Change did not arrive all at once, and it did not erase the past. It came in increments, in early mornings and late nights spent learning, in mistakes corrected without shame, in paychecks that landed with a reliability that felt like mercy. Marcus still worked hard, but the work met him halfway now. He moved into a slightly larger apartment with windows that welcomed the sun, and on weekends he and his son explored the city like tourists in their own lives, finding parks and bakeries and moments that felt like gifts. The restaurant remained a chapter he did not forget. He visited sometimes, sitting at a corner table, tipping generously, watching the dance of labor with a new tenderness. He remembered the zero and the note beneath the plate, the way hope had hidden in an unexpected place. He understood now that dignity could be quiet, that kindness could be private, that the smallest gestures could carry the longest shadows. Years later, Marcus would tell his son about the night that changed everything, not as a fairy tale but as a testament to attention. He would say that being seen mattered, that effort deserved respect even when it went unnoticed, that sometimes the truest generosity arrived without applause. His son would listen, eyes wide, absorbing a lesson not about wealth but about worth. If this story has stirred something in you, if it has reminded you of the power of noticing and the courage of perseverance, please take a moment near the end of this video to like it, share it, and subscribe. Your engagement keeps these stories alive and reaching the people who need them most. And just before we close, I have a special request. Please comment the word kindness below if you believe that small acts can change big lives, and tell us what this story meant to you. Your words might be the hidden note someone else needs to find tonight. The receipt with the zero never defined Marcus. The note beneath the plate did not make him rich overnight. What it did was open a door he had been walking past for years, a door that led to steadier ground and a wider sky. In a world that often mistakes silence for indifference, one careful gesture proved that attention could be transformative. And long after the chandeliers dimmed and the rain dried on the sidewalks, the true tip lingered, paid forward in a life rebuilt with patience, pride, and the quiet courage to hope again.